She was famous in country music, a very proud mother, and a fighter who seemed to be able to handle any problem life threw at her. Then, one spring morning, all the screens showed the news. Judd was no longer alive. It stopped fans, friends, and even people who had been against them for a long time. How did the woman who wrote songs of hope just stop being? And why do the pages of her recently released Autopsy make us wonder even more? For almost 40 years, Naomi Judd's warm, twangy voice was what Nashville was all about. It was hit after hit for her and her daughter Juana. She got Grammys like other musicians get guitar picks. It felt like a family picnic when the Judds came on stage. It was a wave of shock, honors, and pure confusion when word of Naomi's death spread on social media. Now, a formal autopsy that has been kept secret for a long time shows truths that few people are ready to face. Birth and early life of Naomi Judd. Diamond Ellen Judd, Naomi's birth name, was January 11, 1946, in the small Kentucky town of Ashland. Her early life was simple. Charles Glenn Judd, her father, ran a gas station, and Pauline Ruth Holly, her mother, worked as a steamboat cook. The early years of Naomi's life were not easy. She lost her younger brother Brian to leukemia when he was 17. It was one of the saddest things that ever happened to her. That kind of pain never really goes away. Nicole had her first child when she was 18. Her first child was a girl named Christina Claire Simonella, who became known as Winana Judd. Then Naomi's boyfriend, Charles Jordan, who was Winana's real father, broke up with her. She quickly married Michael Simonella and named her child after him to get her life back on track. Even though they were only together for a short time, Naomi had another daughter with them. Ashley Judd was born in 1968 and became a famous actor. After Naomi's marriage to Simonella ended, she raised both of her children by herself. She did everything she could to make sure they had a good life, even as she worked toward her own goals. She first went to the University of Kentucky in the mid-1970s to study nursing. After that, she went to the College of Marine in California to study further. She lived in a small town called Lagonas at the time and worked, went to school, and raised her kids. After getting divorced, she made the choice that would change her life for good. She was going to give up the name Diana. She didn't think it really showed who she was or her roots in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So she chose the name Naomi as her new name. She became interested in the Bible story of Naomi. A woman who went to another country, lost a lot, and raised her 2 children by herself. That story did show some things about her own life. In this way, Naomi Judd was born, both in name and in person. From there, the path to fame in country music would slowly begin to take shape. The Jews. Naomi Judd and her daughter Winona formed the Judds in the 1980s. They are one of the most famous country music duos of all time. Not only was their sound catchy, it was also real, full of stories and rooted in the ups and downs of their own lives. Fans really liked it. The Judds became a huge star in country music very quickly, with 20 hit songs, 6 albums, and a string of awards. Their first recording was a simple song called Winana and Naomi. It had 6 songs, and 2 of them were released as singles. Elvis Presley's song, Had a Dream for the Heart, was one of them. It got to number 17 on the country charts. That's pretty good for their first song, but it was their second hit, Mama He's Crazy, that made them famous. The song came out in 1984, went to number 1, and won them their first Grammy Award. That was just the beginning. Later that same year, they put out their first full-length album, Why Not Me? Which was the norm in the country. Hit songs like Girls Night Out and Love Is Alive were on it. It sold more than 1 million copies in the US and won the 2 artists a Grammy along with it. The Judds did more than just sing. They created a new wave of country music, especially for women who could relate to Naomi and Juana. In 1985, they put out Rockin' with the Rhythm, which gave us 4 more hit songs. Have Mercy stayed at the top for 2 weeks, which wasn't very common at the time. Then there was Grandpa, Tell Me About the Good Old Days, a sweet song about the past that won them 2 more Grammys. Their songs seemed personal and moving to their fans, which they liked. Heartland was the Judds' first album by 1987. Among the hits were Don't Be Cruel, I Know Where I'm Going, Maybe Your Baby's Got the Blues, and Turn It Loose. A lot of people didn't like this record, but fans stuck with them. They put out a greatest hits record in 1988 that had songs like Give a Little Love and Change of Heart, which Naomi wrote herself. They got their 4th Grammy for that song. The Judds were more than just a mother and daughter team. They told stories of survivors that showed strength. Naomi, in particular, used her own problems to make songs that helped millions of people feel heard and understood. The Split and Working by Yourself. Naomi Judd's life took a turn in 1991. She was told she had hepatitis C by doctors. It was terrible news. Naomi and Juana quit touring because they knew how hard it could be and were afraid it would ruin Juana's job as a singer. Their goodbye concert, which was shown on cable pay-per-view, broke viewing records, showing how much fans loved the Judds. Naomi wasn't one to do nothing, though. That same year, she set up the Naomi Judd Education and Research Fund with the promise of spreading information about how dangerous hepatitis C is and helping people who are dealing with it. She also spoke out for the American Liver Foundation across the country, using her own story to encourage people to get tests and treatment. 2 years later, in 1993, Naomi won the Golden Plate Award from the American Academy of Achievement for her work as an advocate and in music. This was one of many awards that recognized her bravery. The best day of her life was when she finished interferon alpha treatment and was declared hepatitis C-free in 1998. Naomi went back on stage because she felt like she had been given a second chance. She and Juana got back together in Phoenix on New Year's Eve 1999 for a sold-out show with daughter Ashley Judd as the host. After that, they did the Power to Change tour in 2000. The spirit was electric. When 2001 came around, the Judds were back in the news. They were nominated for the Academy of Country Music's Top Vocal Duo Award. Naomi's return didn't end with music. From 2003 to 2004, she was a judge on Star Search with host Arsenio Hall, giving hopeful artists honest motherly advice. She had her own talk show on the Hallmark Channel in 2005 called Naomi's New Morning. For 2 full seasons, she talked about faith, family, and health. She also started writing, and in 2007 she put out a self-help book called Naomi's Guide to Aging Gratefully. It had useful advice mixed with her trademark warmth and humor. Producers loved how she didn't try to be fancy. Thus, Naomi was hired as a judge and coach for the 2008 season of Can You Do It? On CMT. After almost 10 years, she joined her husband Larry Strickland on the reality cooking show My Kitchen Rules on Fox. In 2017, she showed that she could also have fun in the kitchen. Naomi kept breaking new ground even after all the praise. She was one of the first women to be inducted into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2021. This was an honor she earned because her songs and lyrics touched many people. Her work as an actress. Naomi Judd was more well known for her country songs than that. She also played roles. In 1979, she had her first movie role in the comedy More American Graffiti, which was a small part. It was the beginning of her work in movies and TV shows. By 1995, she was not only singing, but also making music. She was the head producer of Naomi and Juana, a movie made just for TV. Based on her book about her life and her friendship with her daughter Juana, Love Can Build a Bridge. Naomi has been on some of the most popular TV shows over the years. She has been a guest star on TV shows like Sisters, The Client, Third Rock from the Sun, and Touched by an Angel. She played the lead female part in the Western movie Rio Diablo with Kenny Rogers in 1993, showing that she was just as good on screen as she was on stage. That didn't make her rest on her laurels. The first was the romantic TV movie A Holiday Romance, which she played as Lily Waite. The second was the drama film Family Tree. In the 2001 romantic comedy Someone Like You, which starred her daughter Ashley Judd, she had a sweet appearance. Fans loved the scene between the mother and daughter. It showed how their creative worlds could come together in a good way. Naomi did not go more slowly. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, she kept acting, trying out different roles and showing people new sides of her personality. Everyone was shocked when, in 2011, she played a darker role in the Lifetime thriller The Killing Game, which also starred Laura Prepon. Even though this wasn't her normal role, she did great in it, showing how versatile and brave she is as an actor. We then got to the Hallmark years. In 2013, Naomi was in the movies Nearly Weds and Window Wonderland. Two warm, happy movies that let her real warmth show through. They were great for people who like stories with a happy finish. She felt right at home with that warm feeling. In 2014, she played a sweet character named Honey in the holiday movie An Evergreen Christmas, which was full of small-town charm and holiday cheer. The movie was even more heartwarming because of Naomi's part as a sweet mother. Her last movie role was in the 2021 Lifetime movie Ruby, which was based on a book by V.C. Andrews. She played the main character's mother, and as always, she brought strength, depth, and real emotion to the film. Naomi Judd could connect with people no matter what part she played. She always gave it her all with honesty, grace, and love, whether it was a country song that made us cry or a Christmas movie that warmed our hearts. Naomi Judd on Hope and Making It Big. Naomi Judd always liked how a country music star could connect so well with their fans. But that link crossed the line sometimes. In an interview in 1993, Naomi talked about meeting a very devoted fan who started going to the same Pentecostal church as her family. Naomi didn't feel good. "I just don't sign things at church. She told me that Jesus is the star, not me." Afterward, she wrote a moving letter to the fan, telling her to ask herself, "Do you go to church to see the Judds or to see God?" The fan stopped going to church, but she did wait in line to get her autograph. Naomi never shied away from her life's highs and lows. Fans loved her and her sassy daughter Nana, and it wasn't just because of their songs. Fans could relate to their problems. Naomi had stress, panic attacks, an emergency pregnancy, and a fight to stay alive with hepatitis C, which is what made her decide to stop acting with Nana. What she didn't talk about in public until years later was the fact that she had been abused as a child, which made her depressed and hard to treat. In her 2016 autobiography, River of Time, she wrote about how deep her pain went. In an honest letter about her suicide thoughts, she wrote, "If someone pulled out a gun and killed me on stage, they would be doing me a favor." Naomi killed herself on April 30, 2022, which was very sad. She was going to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame the next day. Following the ceremony, Ashley Judd said through tears, "I'm sorry she couldn't hang on until today." Later, Ashley wrote an angry article for USA Today about how her mother's mental illness and the pain she had been through as a child had taken her away. Even though she was sad, Nana led the crowd through a moving reading of the 23rd Psalm. The crowd said, "Amen," when she was done, her voice shaking as she said, "I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Naomi said that real country music should be about everything in life, each good and bad day, every Saturday night and Sunday morning. She never tried to be perfect. "That's why Nana was born when I was only 17 and not married. We have had a lot happen," she said. "We don't have a royal family in America, so we've made celebrities our aristocracy, but we're just people with angels and demons like everyone else." And it was Naomi Judd's honesty that made her stand out. What happened with her husband Larry Strickland? Naomi Judd and Larry Strickland were married for almost 33 years, but it wasn't as perfect as it seemed. There were some shocking truths revealed in the new documentary series The Judd Family, Truth Be Told, which aired May 10 and 11. In one, Naomi had actually pulled a gun on Larry. That moving statement came from Strickland, who is now 79 years old, as he watched a scene from the 1995 TV movie Love Can Build a Bridge. Based on Naomi's book, the movie stars Bruce Greenwood as Strickland and Kathleen York as Naomi. Greenwood plays Strickland and York plays Naomi. When he found out he had cheated. Well, it really happened. That's all I can say. That's all I'm going to say. Strickland just nodded and said in a quiet voice when he saw the dramatic event years later. The documentary series shows the ups and downs of the Judd family, giving fans an honest look at the pain behind the glory. Naomi used to say that she and Larry were wildly, madly, passionately in love, but that all-consuming love came with all-consuming pain. Naomi wrote about a sad memory from the 1980s in her autobiography. A woman from the Northeast called Naomi and Larry in Nashville to say that she loved and missed him. Naomi was very angry. She tore up their pictures and put Larry's things in a trash bag, which she then left in the yard. Distance was one of the things that made their relationship so hard. Larry was gone a lot, leaving Naomi alone and feeling like she was abandoned. Those long periods of being away must have been hard on her mentally and emotionally. Even though these parts were hard, Naomi and Larry's relationship stayed strong. They got married in May 1989 after meeting in 1979. They stayed married until Naomi's sad death. The world was shocked when she died. But the Judd family, truth be told, shows that behind her smile and ability was a woman who had been hurt, betrayed, and had unfinished business with love and forgiveness for years. Naomi Judd was more than just a famous country music singer. She was a complicated, deeply felt woman who fought hard for herself, her family, and her marriage. Changes in the family and accusations. Her autobiography, All That Is Bitter and Sweet, came out in 2011. Ashley Judd, an actress, talked about the emotional and mental abuse she went through as a child in the Judd family. She talked about how her childhood was ignored, unstable, and traumatic because she was exposed to bad situations that were not safe. This had a big effect on her mental health. Ashley talked about going to 13 schools before she turned 18. Being a guest in her own home more than anything else. Ashley was often left with her father or other close family members while her mother, Naomi Judd, and half-sister, Juana, worked on their music careers. She talked about how being involved in her mother's business and the drug use in the house made her feel unstable and in chaos. The most powerful part of Ashley's memoir might be the part where she talks about being raped by a family friend when she was a girl. She also talked about how being emotionally abused and having a family that doesn't work well together affected her mental health. These things made her depressed and made her think about committing suicide, but therapy helped her get over them as an adult. When Ashley's book came out, it got mixed reviews. Naomi and Winana didn't answer to Ashley's private stories in public, but they did give us more information about how the Judd family interacts with each other. There was a lot of pain and mental struggle behind their fame and success. Ashley Judd's decision to talk freely about the bad things that happened to her as a child and her mental health problems has helped start important conversations. It's important to talk about these things, even if it's hard, and her honesty shows that. There are a lot of people who feel the same way but are afraid to speak up or feel alone. Ashley's story shows us all how important it is to have safe places to talk about our problems and get better. Also, it shows that even famous families have troubles. It takes a lot of bravery for her to tell the truth. It will help other people feel seen and understood, and it will push them to get the help they need. Naomi Judd died early in the morning on April 30, 2022. It was a sad and sudden death. The singer, who is 76 years old, was found at her home in Leipers Fork, Tennessee. After that, the formal report confirmed what worried fans had thought. Naomi killed herself with a gun and died. She fought for years against severe sadness, which often came with anxiety, panic attacks, and scary thoughts that she worked very hard to get rid of. Sadly, the medicines that were supposed to help her stay stable had very bad side effects. Lithium and other medicines caused people to get puffy faces, lose their hair, and shake their hands. Those changes made her mental pain even worse, adding insult to injury. She died just one day before Juana was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, which had been their dream for decades. Ashley and Juana shared the sad news on social media on April 30, today, we sisters experienced a tragedy. We lost our beautiful mother to the disease of mental illness. The sisters were careful with their words, calling Naomi's illness a disease to show that it was just as real and serious as any physical illness. 12 days later, Ashley went on Good Morning America with Diane Sawyer and cried as she explained why the family had chosen to talk about the cause of death. They didn't want someone else to control the story, and they wanted to start an honest conversation about mental health. Ashley wanted to tell the truth so that someone else would feel less alone and more likely to ask for help. To remember Naomi's life, CMT showed a public memorial called Naomi Judd, a River of Time celebration. The service took place at the historic Reman Auditorium, which was one of Naomi's favorite places, and was hosted by Robin Roberts of Good Morning America. The tribute had a lot of famous people in it, but it was also very personal. Naomi's husband, Larry Strickland, shared touching memories. Friends from all over the entertainment industry sent their best wishes. On video, Bono, Bette Midler, Morgan Freeman, Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, and Salma Hayek all showed up. On stage, Naomi's music went off without a hitch. Many brave singers, including Reba McEntire, Brad Paisley, Little Big Town, Brandi Carroll, and Emmylou Harris, filled the auditorium that night. It wasn't really goodbye, it was an invitation to keep doing Naomi's work, which sheds light on conversations about hope, recovery, and the need to treat mental illness with the same seriousness as any other life-threatening illness. The Autopsy Report. It was reported by the Davidson County Medical Examiner's Office on August 26, 2022, that country singer Naomi Judd killed herself with a gunshot wound to the head. The report said, Naomi Judd died as a result of a gunshot wound to the head. Suicide is the way of death. According to the autopsy, Naomi was also taking a number of prescription drugs, including ones for bipolar disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. These drugs are meant to help, but sometimes they have side effects that make mental illness worse. Sadly, Naomi's daughter Ashley Judd found her mother alive but badly hurt. Ashley said that she held her dying mother close and comforted and loved her. After the autopsy report came out, the Judd family made a statement about the need for mental health awareness. We have always been open about both the good and bad things about being a family. Part of our story is that our matriarch fought an unfair enemy. Winana Judd promised to keep singing after her mother died. She said, "In the middle of everything that has happened, I said that I would continue to sing. So, here I am." She kept her promise by releasing a new song called Other Side, which features the indie artist Waxahachie. Naomi Judd's death has also led to more conversations about mental illness. The stigma surrounding mental illness and the importance of getting help. The attention her family is getting is meant to lower that stigma and get people to care more about mental health. Did Naomi Judd really leave her daughters out of her will? Naomi Judd did have a will. Some reporters got a copy of it and made assumptions, but maybe they didn't look at it closely enough. They mostly talked about who Naomi named as the executor of her estate, not who she left the money to. Naomi named her 33-year husband, Larry Strickland, as the executive. This person is in charge of the legal and financial aspects of the estate, like paying bills and taxes and giving the money to the people named in the will or trust following the death. Being the executive is not a reward or an act of favoritism. She also chose 2 alternates in case Larry couldn't do the job. Naming a longtime spouse as executive is not a surprise at all. It is a bit surprising that she didn't name her daughters as alternates, but perhaps not surprising given how busy Ashley and Juana are. Executives don't always get money from an estate unless they are also named as beneficiaries. According to some sources, Ashley and Winona are beneficiaries, but they weren't named in the will. This may have happened because Naomi may have set up a trust, which is a legal structure that can manage and distribute a person's wealth after death. Most people use a simple type of will called a pour-over will, which just pours anything that's not in the trust into it. The trust, not the will, usually spells out who gets what. According to US Weekly, both of Naomi's daughters are in her trust, and Larry is in charge of it, which means he's in charge of both the will and the trust. The sudden appearance of this in the news may have been legal. It may have been filed to support a lawsuit the Judd family filed to keep private records about Naomi's death secret. A judge has already granted temporary protection, and more legal steps are on the way. In the end, it doesn't look as dramatic as the headlines made it out to be. Many people found comfort in Naomi Judd's music. She was a country music legend, a Grammy winner, and a woman whose music spoke to millions. But behind all the sparkle and glory, Naomi struggled with a darkness that not everyone could see. Naomi's death shocked fans all over the world when it was announced that she had killed herself the day before she and her daughter Winana were to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Naomi was open about her struggles with mental illness, depression, and anxiety for many years. She would talk about how those things affected her life all the time, even when she was at the top of her career. It is sad to think that someone who gave so much love and courage to others was secretly suffering in silence. Naomi's story reminds us that mental illness doesn't care about success, fame, or wealth. It can happen to anyone, even those who seem to have it all. To remember her, we cherish both her music and her courage in talking about her pain. And we hope that we learn to connect with the people we care about more. If Naomi's story touched you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth looks into the lives of the stars you love. Press that bell to make sure you never miss an update. We share real stories that matter, from the good to the bad and everything in between.